Well, now to break down more of the legal and the political aspects of all of this and what could happen next, we're joined by analysts Wendy Patrick and Fink.
Welcome to the four ladies. Thank you for spending some time with us today. I want to get right into it, Wendy, about a legal question. The language in this draft ruling, what's the likelihood we see this language in a final opinion?
Very high. That's my prediction. You know, this came just in time for the midterms and Mother's Day this weekend, but it was written in February. What does that tell you? That it didn't take very long for the justices to make up their minds which way they were going to vote. It also begs the question as to whether people would be rushing around behind the scenes if they had paid attention to what the Supreme Court was saying in terms of the conservative justices. They've been leaning this direction in their opinions and their questions and the statements they've been making in oral arguments for months, and many states already have legislation in the works to prepare themselves for if and when, which appears to be very highly likely, this comes out in final form. The wording may be different, but the breakdown of justices, save for Justice Roberts, although it doesn't matter, 6-3-5-4, this will be the way the decision comes down. So when it goes back to the states, as you mentioned, the individual states are going to decide how to regulate abortion.
Laura, I want to bring you in on the conversation as well. We have heard some politicians, even on Twitter, have concern over other issues, things like gay marriage, even interracial relationships stemming from this leaked memo. Is that fear-mongering, or is there something to that?
Well, that all has to do, Heather, with the way that Justice Alito wrote this draft opinion. He said that protected rights had to be deeply rooted in our nation's history and tradition. And as we know, so many groups have maintained and have articulated rights that were not deeply rooted. We know this is a 1973 decision where women didn't have the right at that time to access a bank account without the permission of their husband. So that is not deeply rooted in the tradition of our country. So really, all of those rights that are centered around privacy, from Loving versus Virginia in interracial marriage to some of the other cases surrounding gay marriage and even contraception, are potentially on the chopping block by the logic of this opinion. So in addition to, for abortion rights activists and proponents, which are around 70% of the population, believe in some form of abortion being legalized. And of course, this would outlaw nationally all forms of abortion, upholding a law that even outlaws abortion in the cases of rape and incest and the health of the mother. So a wide berth given to states to circumscribe and even outlaw abortion.
Laura, huge political issue.
Abortion is the topic of this opinion, but the court did address those other issues. The court was very clear because understandably they thought this might be a slippery slope. People might interpret it. So they made very clear within the opinion that this is only limited to abortion. So at the very least, I always tell people to take a look at the opinion to make that decide what to think of this.
And in that opinion, that may have said that in a specific paragraph, but the laws that they rely upon to build that opinion could be used by other justices as precedent to eliminate those rights. So yes, there's definitely debate about that.
I want to get to the political aspect of this real quick. We only have about a minute left. So quickly, Laura, the conventional wisdom has been that this fall, Democrats were going to take a big hit. Is there any chance that this does change that pattern?
It was surprising to see this release so early, and some might argue strategically so that the outrage might subside among the left before the midterm elections. But I do think that this could particularly energize suburban women that may have considered voting for a conservative, and also young voters who Democrats deeply need to be able to win in November.
All right, Wendy, we're almost flat out of time here, but I do want to give you the final word here. As far as the leaked part of this, the leaked memo coming out of the Supreme Court never has happened before, at least not to my knowledge. What is your thoughts on that? And could somebody be held criminally accountable for that?
Yeah, two great questions. Very quickly, I think that is a huge problem. And to say that the integrity of the court is at stake would be an understatement when you have a leaked memo on a case this big. So it's a good thing John Roberts is already talking about, working with the feds or whoever to get to the bottom of this. We're going to figure out how it happened and make sure this never happens again.
Wendy Patrick, Fink, thank you so much for your time today. I wish we had a lot more, but I'm sure we'll be revisiting this a lot in the coming months. Few issues as big in American politics. Thanks for your time.
Ladies, thanks.